Does being afraid of something stop you dead in your tracks? Like you just can't take another step forward? Hi, it's David from Life with Parkinson's. If you're new here, welcome. We hope you'll consider subscribing. Everyone else, thank you for your continued love and support. And I just ask you to remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not recommending that everyone jump up and follow my Parkinson's treatment plan. Please make your own decisions, and if you aren't sure, seek professional medical advice. Now, we're going to look at 3 things today that I feel cause us fear and cause us to turn away from natural remedies. I'm really excited to find out what they are, so let's get right to it. When I was in my early 20s, I remember that chlorophyll was a big hit that time. It was all the rage. My green drink. And I was working in Squamish in the pulp mill at the time, in the power boiler section of the pulp mill, and it was very smoky because I was pulling grates and pulling the ashes out of the boiler every morning. Not super harsh, but not the greatest environment to be in for your lungs. So the chlorophyll was supposed to help with oxygen levels, make my red blood cells better. But when I stopped working in that part of the mill, I could barely tell the difference. Was the chlorophyll even doing anything at all? And this is kind of where I feel the first fear of natural remedies developed. The fear of being scammed. And it seems like scams are everywhere. And I had a recent experience about that at my last job I was at. I had a potential customer in. We had a great talk that day, probably 20 minutes, half an hour. And I told him about my Parkinson's disease. And then about 10 days later, he shows up again at the site. And it's like he's doing me a favor. He's showing me all these medical patches, telling me about different things. Oh, this will reduce your inflammation. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And these things felt like they cost a bloody fortune. I'm like, this is starting to feel really scammy, really uncomfortable. So I'm like, no, please just go away. And for me, it's kind of gotten to the point now where if it looks like a scam, it feels like a scam, it smells like a scam, it's a scam. But on the other hand, I've shared some stuff with you guys, some companies and some different products that they put out. But those I've really looked into hard, I've researched, I've tried their products, I've self-experimented. It reminds me of the Muppet Show with the Swiss scientist, I can't remember. The 2 puppets in the Muppet Show that do all the experiments. Beaker and the professor. And Beaker's like, no, don't experiment on me. The professor's like, come here, Beaker. Take this glass of water. It's like, no. Beaker's running away. Yes, run, Beaker, run. We don't want you to get self-experimented on anymore. At this point in my illness, I am open to self-experimentation, but I've done so much of it now. I kind of have an idea that I don't want to get hurt anymore. And getting hurt or getting sick from stuff you're self-experimenting on, you really got to be careful when you're beginning clinical trials on yourself. It really can be painful, and I found that with the last version of the Parkinson's gloves we built, even though they were programmed wrong and set up wrong, it still hurt a lot. I find that when you put the wrong vibrations inside your brain turns around and sends them back out and punishes you for it, and it's very painful. For me, it caused what Haley and I call jaw attacks. Your jaw clenches up really tight, your airway kind of closes, it's difficult to breathe. It can be very scary. Natural remedies have always been something I've been very skeptical about over the years. And I think the reason for that is I've seen it done badly many times. Multi-level marketing schemes, companies that have wild promises, but they send you stuff that, is that really a vitamin or does that just taste like sugar? And you can get bogged down with that, but getting involved in the Parkinson's world, I found out the natural remedies are a whole new world. There are a lot of them out there, and many of them look promising and very interesting. But I think this leads to when we see someone doing better than us, and we don't really know why. It's like we get these questions, why is that person so happy? Why is that person doing better? Why can that person smile again and we can't? And I think that leads to the second fear that we have with natural remedies, and that's the fear of missing out. right? When we see something going well for another person with Parkinson's, say, hey, how do I get in on that? Send me a pair of that, or send me that thing that you're doing. I really want to know. But I think before we do that, we have to ask, why are they doing so well? This kind of leads us to a bit of a fork in the road. And someone explained this to me a little while ago. It's like, okay, well, what if this person has all these things on their tool belt and they're missing this one thing? And let's call it vitamin D, right? They get vitamin D and all of a sudden they perk up, they're way better, they're doing super good. It's like, oh, vitamin D is the answer for me, right? Vitamin D, I need vitamin D. We go get the vitamin D and like nothing happens for us. And then we're like, oh, the vitamin D is a waste of time. And the other person's like, oh man, with the vitamin D, I am like all like a bag of chips and more. I'm all dressed up, ready to go out. And it's like, well, the vitamin D is not doing me anything. It's like, well, you're doing it wrong. And we get caught up on that vitamin D. And that's where the fear of missing out leads us, right? But we don't have all those other things that they're doing. So we go out and try vitamin K, and it's like, oh, vitamin K is what does it for me. But that was the thing you were missing in your diet. So it really becomes like an unsure world of what's going on. It's like someone who's thirsty. All they need is water. We got to be careful. We need to know what's going on. What are we adding? What's our tool belt at? All these things need to be kept track of. And another thing the fear of missing out can cause is like a drain on finances, because a lot of these natural remedies or supplements and vitamins can cost a lot of money, and you're buying 5 or 6 of them per month, and you could be spending $300 or $400 just on supplements and vitamins. And I've been there. I've done that. I've done that. It's a drain on the finances. I had to stop taking a lot of them and only really take the ones that I felt were doing anything at all. And so, yeah, I believe we can waste a lot of money on stuff that we don't really need. Most of our nutritional needs can be met from our diet. I know there's certain vitamins that Parkinson's strips away that we need to replenish, but 90% or more of the stuff we can just get from eating right. And this is why I say, just don't go out and buy everything I test and say that's good for me. Because what's good for me might not be right for you. It might not be what completes your tool belt of your Parkinson's treatment plan. Even though I've tested it and said it's okay, you might not need it. I don't want people spending money unnecessarily on things they don't need. Okay, if the fear of missing out doesn't get us, then this could lead to desperation. And desperation can lead to irrational decisions, buying stuff we don't need, or overloading on something, overdosing on natural remedies that we don't really need to. Let's say we're drinking a lot of herbal teas and we're drinking all the herbal teas that help with digestion. You don't want to do that. I've done that. You can spend a lot more time in the bathroom than is actually necessary. But I believe that the biggest contributing factor that fears do to us is that they become roadblocks that lead to desperation. And when we approach our chronic illness with a sense of desperation, we can go to the bathroom mirror and look in the mirror and go, who is that person? I don't even recognize them anymore. Or we can put on airs of happiness when everyone else is around, but when we're alone, our souls go a little bit dark, just because we see our time running out. It can feel that no one has an answer. It can feel like there's no way out at all for us. And suddenly it feels like natural remedies are our only hope. But you need to be able to tell what's the good stuff from the bad stuff. Also, one other thing is to be aware that there's not a lot of scientific research and evidence out there in the natural world remedies. Just because modern medicine has kind of tossed the rule book aside. Tossed aside things that we were taking and using for thousands of years, which I don't really understand. But the reason is because a lot of these natural substances you can't patent, you can't buy intellectual property on them. So the big pharmaceutical companies may not be spending a lot of money on research studies for natural remedies because the money is just not there in it. And I really feel there's going to be a massive turnaround. I feel that we're going to go back to focusing on natural remedies. I just don't know if it's going to happen in time for me. I mean, aren't you tired of the side effects, the lawsuits, the broken promises of these super drugs? They just don't stop. I mean, the cures already exist in the natural world. Why are we looking elsewhere? I don't know. Greed. Thank you for taking this journey together. Thank you for liking, watching, subscribing, and sharing this video with your family and friends. Please leave a comment or question below. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Goodbye.